Oh, yes.
Welcome back once again, everyone. I am very excited to bring you a review for the new Transformers War for Cybertron Earthrise Titan-class Scorponok. This is arguably the crown jewel of the entire Earthrise line, so his size is rather befitting of that title. Naturally, there is a Titan-class toy about once every year, and they tend to coincide with, whatever toy line they're being introduced in. I just got my Scorponok today from FedEx alongside the Commander Class Skylynx, who I just reviewed previously to this. And if you saw that review, you know that I had a bit of an issue in that the big old box they came in was wet. It was soaked on top. And that water did manage to seep down and wet the boxes for these toys, mainly on the back of the box. Now, I opened Skylynx up and he was fine. No water damage inside, so I'm hoping that's the case for Scorponok. Also, you probably noticed I'm not in my usual setup because this guy's massive and my little reviewing desk just doesn't really cut it. But for you longtime viewers, you may recognize this table as the very table that I started doing my reviews on about 3 years ago. So, bringing back a classic, even though it's a little worse for the wear these days. So if you're used to my reviews, you know how this goes. We're going to take a look at Scorponok's packaging. We'll open it up. We'll see all the contents inside. We'll take a look at his instructions, his map piece, all that. And then we'll get a look at Scorponok himself in his Scorpion mode, his base mode. And then we'll get to see Scorponok in his massive robot mode, which, for anyone that doesn't know, is almost 2 feet tall. It's a little bit shorter than Fortress Maximus. So that's perfect, actually, because, in fiction, when Scorponok is a large city bot like Fortress is, he is just a little bit shorter, maybe a head shorter than Fortress, so it's going to work out perfectly. So now looking at this box, you can see just this great artwork of Scorponok right on the front, and he's got Optimus Prime in his grasp, being rather helpless. You can see Optimus's ion blaster on the ground right there, which that actually looks like it's based more off of the Siege version than the Earthrise one. You got some Autobots running to the rescue. That looks like Bumblebee in the front. Not sure who that is. Might be Prowl maybe, and some silhouette. There's the Ark, or something that looks like the Ark down there. Blink and you miss it. Here's Double Dealer in his bird mode, flying up ahead, probably lending support, so that's really cool. You can see some green lasers coming at Scorponok. But you can't see where they're coming from if you tilt this down. See, it continues the picture, but there's no one up here, just the night sky. You turn here, you can see where this purple laser is coming from. And it's coming from the barrel of a gun, and I can't for the life of me tell who that's supposed to be. Looks like they got some kind of wrist-mounted gun here. Titan class on the side. Now here's the back. Here's where you can see where the water damage took its toll. This is all messed up. See, it's peeling, it's bent. Very flimsy, so I'm very upset about that. I'm gonna write a real mean, angry letter to FedEx because that'll show them. That'll get them to do better next time. I'm sure it will. All right, so again, you got his name in both English and Autobot font. His number is Earthrise 25, which means he comes right after Skylynx, so he's 24. You can see the Scorpion mode, base mode, or they call it Battle Station mode, and the robot mode. He is a double headmaster like Fortress Maximus, which is a departure from the original toy, but honestly it's for the best because having a normal size headmaster become a Titan Transformers head just leads to a guy with a really tiny face. That's something I wasn't a fan of with the original Scorponok toy. So, now he has a standard Titan Master size headmaster who connects to this larger body. And I think, if I remember right, the small head is based off of the toy version of Zarak, whereas this larger one is based off of the Headmaster's anime version. Could be, maybe I got that backwards. I'll take a look at that. And then naturally he becomes the large head. You can see some cross cells from the Micromasters here. And then this right here shows off how the little Headmaster can be seated inside of the Scorpion. So overall, pretty exciting, right? I do expect this guy to come with a very large map piece. At least the same size as Skylynx's, if not bigger. Hopefully it's just loose in the package like Skylynx's was, so I don't have to cut it out because that's a pain in the butt. But having jabbered on, let's open this guy up. All right, one nice surgical cut to the side here. Remove the tape. What's up? flap.
Bill.
There's a little man saying hi. Alright, let's open this. There it is. Oh boy, look at this. Look at those plastic colors. Already in love. Review's over. Best toy ever. Alright. I'm teasing you because you can't really see it, can you? Haha. Alright, so here is the massive instruction book, so that's good. Here is the absolutely ginormous map piece, and that's got some special stuff on there. I wonder what that's all about. Take a look at that. The little man is holding up the insert so you can see. Here's Scorponok's body. There's his head in there. Some blast effects. And looks like his decoder's in there too.
That's huge.
So, alright. Gonna go ahead, cut some straps, open everything up, and let's get a closer look. Alright, and here is our map piece. And you can see this thing is absolutely massive. Practically just a big rectangle. And if you can't tell what that is in the center of it, I'll give you a clue. Unicron! So, that's the bad boy himself, and if I had to guess, based on the shape of this and everything, this probably forms the center of the map. And what's really neat about this serves as kind of like a key to the whole universe map too. So, if we go here, see it says Space Bridge, and it shows a certain line. And that pattern should look familiar because we've seen a line like this on the other map pieces. Here it says Arc with a different type of line, Nemesis, Quintesson, and then Fool's Fortune. They're all different lines. So, if you're not sure, what this is basically telling you is that all these different lines throughout the map, they're travel lines showing you where different vessels or factions have gone. So the Space Bridge one, it's pretty obvious. It's just where people have Space Bridge to. The Arc shows the Arc's travel path, the Nemesis. This will be the Quintesson ship, and Fool's Fortune, I can only imagine, are the mercenaries. A rather small faction that's getting a bit of a shout out here in Earthrise. So that's really cool. I like that they gave a little key to show you what everything is. Now, instructions. Let's see, it comes on this big instruction sheet. You got Scorponok here in the front with some tech specs right there. Pretty loaded, as you might imagine, for such a powerful character. Open all this up. And up top, you have how to assemble your Scorponok out of the package, is that first step. And then this shows you how to move his accessories from his, from their storage configuration and turn them into the Zarak shield, which is what his shield weapon thing is called. Here with the white shows you how to transform his head into the Lord Zarak headmaster, and then how to transform that guy's head into this little one. Now, apparently this doesn't officially have a name, but it's probably also Lord Zarak, right? Because in original fiction he didn't have a second transdector body. Oh yeah, and I looked it up. So yeah, this little one is based off of the original toy and comic appearance, all that stuff, and then this one is based off of the Japanese character Scorponok, who is the parallel to Lord Zarak, and then his big transdector was called Mega Zarak. There you go. All right, first thing we get is the transformation from robot to scorpion mode. So gets you there. Then on the back shows you Scorpion mode to his base mode. Right there. Or battle station mode, whatever they call it. Oh yeah, this top part shows you how to place the little tiny Zarak guy inside of the Scorpion mode. Now honestly, it has you unplug the legs and lift them up and do all this stuff. I found that I can actually get that compartment open without having to do all that, so I don't know. Another fun little bit here is that they're trying to show you the airlock system, and they show you him linking up with Astrotrain, except if you look more closely, that's not actually Astrotrain. That is absolutely Skylinks. So, I mean, I guess honest mistake, right? They both turn into space shuttles. And here just shows you how to do the whole map thing. So yeah, one thing I want to point out is that these instructions don't even mention the fire blast effects that this guy comes with, which is an odd omission, but that is the case. All right, here's our big boy himself. And as you can see, we're starting him off in the Scorpion mode, which is obviously not how he's packaged, but I always like starting with the all modes. So here's the fire blast effect that he comes with. And for the more eagle-eyed of you, you might realize that it's the same exact one that came with Jetfire from Siege. Jetfire came with 2 sets of these, but I think color-wise it's exactly the same. It does come in 3 pieces, which is good. You can break it down, make these into explosions, whatever you want to do. Now, like I said, this isn't called out in the instructions anywhere, so there's no official placement for these. But if I had to pick one for this mode, you can see his scorpion tail has that little point right there, which is absolutely perfect for mounting this fire blast effect. And it holds pretty well. And it looks like he's firing at you from his tail, so very nice. Now, as far as articulation on this guy, you can see his arms can move down, out, bend, do all sorts of stuff here, so that's great. The head can rotate side to side like this, and there's one small little ratchet, only goes a little bit, but it can look down a little and back up. That's it. That's all the give it has. If we pull any more, the head actually comes out. So it's weird. Doesn't get a lot of give, but it's there. This collar piece right here actually detaches very easily. Just held in with these little points. One thing that I really like about this new version is they went and gave him eyes for the Scorpion mode, which makes him look a lot better than the original, because the original, I mean, it was the back of Scorponok's robot head. I mean, it was really silly looking, didn't really work for me. I mean, this is still the back of his head, but because they gave him these eye details, it actually looks like it's got a face now, so that's great. Claws, you can see open and close. The tips of the claws, these fingers, they do move independently from one another, though I imagine that's supposed to be saved specifically for the robot mode. These turrets here, they're actually just held on by little 5mm pegs there. Go right into the shoulders. And this is their default placement. Obviously, you can attach them anywhere there's a 5mm port. But it does give them the ability to rotate around. The legs, these are really cool. So they're not all individually articulated, but they are articulated in pairs. So you get this, and then they bend this middle joint, and then at the tip. So you can get all sorts of cool poses with that. Got these really cool little thruster details here. This piece right here is one of his accessories that'll form the Zarak shield later. The tail articulates in this mode at this point, here, and here, and they're all pretty solid, not on a ratchet or anything, just friction joints, but they hold. This one's a little loose, and I can see over time this kind of weighing it down. And that's pretty much it for any intended articulation. Now this opening hatch thing I mentioned, you just pull it open right here, and see it rubs a little with the feet, but honestly, I have no issue just getting it up. Alright, you look in here, and it's a little Titan Master pilot seat. So I'm going to go ahead and... this likes to come off with the head. Kind of rubs a bit. Alright, we are going to take a little head here, which is not actually required for this mode, so you can just leave it off if you want to. Put the Scorpion head back in. There you go. Get in there. Alright. Here's little fella. Go ahead, unfold him, and you get this little Titan Master here. of course, he can fit right inside of the cockpit. And you can close the cockpit over him without any kind of issues. So there you go. He gets to pilot his giant scorpion mech thing, giant transdector. And overall, this is a very faithful recreation of the original. Obviously, not every detail is exactly the same. That's probably good, right? It's more detailed than the original. Much more posable. Blends some design elements with the original toy, the North American cartoon, and the Japanese cartoon. So they're kind of going for, a best of compilation, which I've always felt is the best way to go design-wise when you're trying to get, the perfect design for a character. Is don't go fully faithful one direction or another. Pick what works best, and I think they really nailed that here. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't show you that there's a fun little bonus mode you can create from Scorponok's Scorpion mode. Basically, you remove all his accessories, his head, all that. Put his legs up inside, and then you get his pincers facing like this, as if they're some sort of dragon heads. And this lets you mimic the two-headed serpent form that Black Zarak took in the Super God Master Force finale, which I hope we get a Black Zarak, because I would like to be able to take this form that toy. Two-headed flying serpent of death thing. Here's to hoping, right? Alright, now that we've reveled in this awesome Scorpion mode, let's go ahead and transform him to his battle station mode. So, first thing I'm going to do is remove accessories. So, get rid of the cannons. Get rid of these panels. They just kind of pop off here. Go ahead, move this out of the way. Don't need that. And you also want to remove the head. Look how cute he is. It's a face only mother can love, right? Alright, so come over here. You want to open these panels up, purple ones. They're attached to the robot thighs. Got a little 5mm port right there. Same thing on the other side. Get it all loose. You also want to detach the tail. It's plugged in here and here. Kind of let that fall down. And take this off. This is what happens when you have kids and you review toys. Awesome. Well, that moment aside, so I forgot to show you this, but this in the Scorpion mode stays attached under the tail. You can remove it. This articulates, it's like mandibles. Side, little tail portion, and fold this in, fold this back, fold that back. So you got this. Take this panel, fold that all the way down. All right. Now that you've got these attached, you're gonna bend these straight up at the second ratchet up here. You're just pointing upwards. Like so. And you're actually gonna go all spread eagle. That. See these little panels here? You're just going to fold these up like a little triangle pattern. Like so. Then you're going to take this joint here, just rotate everything down so it's going parallel to the ground. And then you're going to rotate these back up. That. You're rotating into a thigh circle now. Straight up. You're going to bring these down, say 2 clicks. Let's start with that. And then you're going to bring all this down. And you're going to readjust stuff so these are flat. Those even. What do you guys think? Think that looks right? Let's say that works. Okay. Now, these panels, I'm just going to take them, pull them all the way down. I don't think they should plug in anything right. So just bring them down like that. And get these panels here, lift them up, pull them down, they form ramps. Middle ramp here, I'm going to bring it up, and you want to take this little tab here, plug it into the underside of the pellet region. Snap right in there. This will rest nice and easy, looking good. Now, the instructions, what they tell you to do is to take his scorpion legs and just lay them completely flat. Straighten everything out. You guys can't see it, but there's a chandelier right there that whoever designed my house decided that they need a chandelier that's only like 5 feet off the ground. No idea how many times I've hit my head on this thing. All right, so bring the arms straight up, straighten everything out, just pointing upward. So, rotate these. To where the tops of his forearms are facing you. Oops. Make sure these are as straight as they can be. And then the little thumb part of the claws, just push them in as far as they go. Alright. This piece here, flip up, stand straight up. Now, the little Zarak shield thing, take it, use these posts, attach it right here. And officially, you're supposed to close this about halfway. So the tops of these form kind of a flat surface there. All right. Now, you're going to take your cannons, these panels, plug the panels into the cannons like that. And you're going to come over here. You're going to attach them to the forearms, and you got a post, 2 holes, and a hole and 2 posts, so you know what to do. Make sure a pretty tight fit. So you want to make it to where the more rounded edges are pointing outward, so your shirt looks right. So the same thing go over here. All right, here we go. Bring this up, straighten everything out. All right. Oh yeah, one last little touch, almost forgot. Those panels you flipped up, flip them back down now. Nice flat runway. All right, now this is the battle station mode, which I find to be an odd choice of words considering, well, this thing's got no armaments whatsoever. Like, no guns, no turrets. The cannons he did have become part of like a tower structure. So, Yeah, the original Scorponok toy had more weapons to arm itself with in this mode, including an extra pair of those double cannons and an actual very large cannon, which was like a handgun for Scorponok. This doesn't have any of that due to, good old budget cuts. Now, it really is a shame. I hate to see it go that way because, the shape and everything is right. They got the shape down pretty much perfectly, unlike, say, Fortress Maximus. However, this is so bare. Now, arguably, it is covered in 5mm ports, so you could add weapons, but, it should be pretty self-contained. one little feature that they show off there in the instructions is you take the head, that's robot face by the way. Let's go ahead and put the little guy back on. Now, naturally you could just have Zarak, manning the battle station. They give you an option here to lift this panel up. It has the Titan Master seat. And it actually meshes in there very smoothly and looks like it's part of that tower structure, which is neat. But basically, you can just go ahead and you set this right down inside. And the panel that's in there is shaped in just a way to hold this. And then you can go ahead and close it back up if you wanted. And that way you can store the head inside. Me personally, if I were displaying this, I'd probably just have Zarak being out and about, kind of commanding the battle station. But, if you don't want him out there, you can use an eyesore, you have a place to put him, so that's good. Now, I want to point out, it only makes sense that it's this way, but this guy, unlike most Earthrise toys, he's covered in those tiny, tiny little hard points that are not for fire blast effects, though he does have a few of those, but these are for Titan Masters. Now, obviously it makes sense because he does possess a Titan Master. Here's some of the Siege era hard points. They're a little bit bigger. So that works out very well. The ramps, you can see here, are the airlock connections for Earthrise. So that's cool. However, there's one thing that's unfortunate. Well, for one, I think these are the only connection points he has. So that's pretty weak for what's supposed to be the centerpiece of this. It literally just goes on one side, off the other. I think that's it. That's all they give you. That's it. So I feel really cheated there. But what's more disappointing to me, if you saw my review for Omega Supreme from the year before, well, you'll remember I went a little nuts making a Transformer City because that toy possessed not only the airlock style ramps, but he also possessed connections to link to the old Titan's Return style of connectors, which enabled you to go back, 2 toy lines and make this massive city and allow him to connect to, Fortress Maximus and Trypticon and all that. That was great. And somehow they just completely neglected to do that with Scorponok. Now, technically, if you have Omega Supreme, you have your link right there, and that's really all you need. However, if you just wanted to create separate Autobot or Decepticon cities, well, you're kinda out of luck because you are completely dependent on Omega to actually provide that intergenerational connection. So to me, that is a huge letdown. Now, would I really dox this toy too much for not having it? No, because that is such a superfluous feature that, I should just be grateful that Omega even had it. But to me personally, it's very disappointing. I was looking forward to making a Decepticon city, an Autobot city, but it's just not in the cards for us. So instead, best you can do is a mixed bag. I do want to point out, so I mentioned the instructions tell you specifically to just kind of lay his legs out to the side. I saw it mentioned on the wiki, and I know at least one other person did this in their review. They talked about a special claw trap feature. Now, I don't know if this was intended by the designers or not. I'm not really sure where everybody's getting this information. Maybe I missed something. Maybe John Gordon talked about it or something. But basically what you can do, you'll have to remove the head. There's a panel in there that you just want to fold up, get out of the way. And then what you can do is take the scorpion legs and fold them all the way inside. And this is something you would do for the robot mode anyway. But basically fold them all up in there. Just bend everything as far as it goes. Get them in there, and then you bend the leg tips down at a 90, just so they're not preventing that cover from shutting. like that. Takes a second, but come on. Alright. So you basically get this, which I guess you can purpose this as like some kind of like a grinding pit, you know, like throw some poor hapless Micromaster in there, he just gets ground up in the inner workings. And I don't know how intentional that is from, you know, designer base. It's up to you. If that's the way you want to go with it. If you don't like the legs just kind of laying out, that is an option for you. All right, now, I told myself I wasn't going to do this again, but I did it again. So here we go. Just another Transformer City. You can see you got your Omega Supremes, the central hub, and then going off to the left and right, you have your Titan's Return figures. Utilize that connection point. And then you got your newer stuff, your Earthrise and Siege stuff. So here's the Autobot side. Not a whole lot to see there. And then you have the Decepticon side, which is more impressive because they actually have a big base there. So I gotta say, the new stuff's looking pretty skimpy in comparison. You know, I know the whole gimmick with Earthrise is, you know, build your own city, but frankly, we're just not getting that many releases that are actually compatible with the system. So that's might end up being a bit underwhelming in the end. But here you can see Scorponok. Looking really cool, very menacing. Using his Fire Blast effects to simulate battle damage in this case. So, yeah, what do y'all think of this? Hope you guys like it, because I am up way too late doing this. Well, that was fun. Who had fun? All right, getting back to the regular flow of the review. So here, I want to show off, this is the smallest Titan Master component. You can call him, you know, Zarak or whatever you want to call him. And you know, he is based off of the little tiny original Zarak headmaster. So pretty neat. That's a little faceplate for him. And I want to compare him to the last Scorponok headmaster we got, which was from Titan's Return. It was an exclusive that came with was it Grotesque? Yeah. And you can see they're very similar. They have pretty much the same color layout, though their features are quite different. And this one actually has the Scorponok face. So, just kind of cool. Two versions of basically the same character. And, of course, you gotta have him with his old rival. Whether you want to call him Fortress, or Spike, or Emissary. These are the two little guys that started the whole massive headmaster thing. So, yeah, here you go. Let's make them fight. Alright, here's the larger Lord Zarak body. So what you want to do, take your little Titan Master, fold them up, and go ahead and plug them right in. Pretty loose fit. Not too loose, but could be a little tighter. Alright, and this is the larger headmaster robot. And one thing I'm happy about, and none of the renders or stock photos showed this, but those antennae or horns or whatever for Scorponok, they can actually store on his back rather than just hanging off of his little arm shields. So I think that looks a lot better, and I'm surprised they didn't showcase that. As far as posability, this guy has just about everything you'd expect from a War for Cybertron Deluxe. Has a ball jointed head, universal shoulders, biceps, swivel. He's got a bend at the elbow, no wrist swivel. He has a waist swivel, universal hips, thigh swivel, single bend knees, and ankle tilt. So, despite being, you know, a simple deluxe size figure, he has all the posability you'd, you know, hope for. And honestly, I think he looks cool. Really does capture the look of the Japanese version of Scorponok. And I just kind of dig the way he comes together. Now, of course, this can't be one of my reviews without having some fun, so let's go ahead and really make him Scorponok. There you go. Who needs a Transtector? Right here. This is all we need. We have already achieved Scorponok. So, looks kind of cool. Purples don't quite match. And it's a little bobbly inside of this body, but it's neat if you just want to play around and have a little mini Scorponok character. And it's rivalry time again. So now we have Cerebros, the larger headmaster robot for Fortress Maximus. And you can see here that Zarak, he continues the trend for War for Cybertron to be smaller than the toys of yesteryear. But the trade-off to that is he is a bit more posable. This guy doesn't have ankle tilt, and his elbows are unfortunately ball joints, rather than having like a bicep swivel and a hinge, which is really not ideal. So they work together though. Fortress being bigger than Scorponok would have it make sense that Cerebros would be a little bit bigger than Zarak. Alright, so now the time has finally come to transform Scorponok into his mighty robot mode. So first thing we want to do is go ahead and close his legs back up. Push his ramps back in. Like that for now. Take little panels, triangle. Disconnect this tail piece. Put that out of the way. Turn them this way. Rotate the side like so. Now, bring his feet down. So just grab it, straight out, close these panels up finally. So go this way, and then you can't see it, but it plugs in via 5-wheel port there. Head, same thing here. Head and turn it clockwise. Counterclockwise. Close the panel. Just like that. Now, go ahead and standing this up. Bring it up here. Bring the legs down. He's facing straight. And we're going to rotate him all the way around the waist, like so. Rotate his biceps, bring the arms down. Let's go ahead and get these cannons and panels off of his arms. All right. Let's kind of line everything up here. Same thing here. Alright, let's go ahead and move the shield piece. Bring the chest down, close it all the way. Let's turn them around. So it's a gray panel, push it up inside. So, and then the legs, we're going to do like last time. Just bend the tips, fold them up. Legs in like so. Same thing here. The leg tips back. got tabs right here, one of these slots. So push it all the way in until it locks in like so. Then bring this up. Now there are tabs here and here. They're going to go into these slots on the little tail section. Just bring it up, and then push it in. Lock in place. Now we're going to do this storage configuration first. So, piece of his shield, I'm just going to go ahead and plug it in right here for safekeeping. Now let's turn it around. Make sure his knees are properly ratcheted. Okay, I'm going to take these little side panels and plug them into the side of his legs here. So just go ahead, come over just like that, press them on, like so. So you want the 4 holes, line these 4 pegs here. Toesies. Good. Put them down. They lock into place. Now his cannons. And attaching the shoulders. Same way you did for the Scorpion mode, just on the opposite side now. Alright. So, actually we need the finishing touch. So we have our Zarak figure here. What you want to do, move these little horn pieces, get them out of the way. Then these purple bits on his arm shields, they rotate up at a 90. So you rotate those. Go ahead, flip his fists in. I'm going to fold both hinges on his arms all the way up. And there's a little circle that plugs into that hole there. All right. Lift his chest piece up. I'm going to swing his shoulders down. And they should get nice and flush with his side like that. Next, I'm going to bring his legs up. Kind of do them one at a time to make sure you get them in there right. Like this. Press that chest piece down to kind of lock everything in place. Now, we'll take those antennae, plug them into the sides, let them rest right up against that hardware. Works very well. Alright, now for the finishing touch here, I'm going to bring this up, but before we do, if you haven't already seen this somewhere else, this is what his eyes look like underneath the visor. So they're fully painted and done in a nice little gradient color too, where the green gets darker as you go towards the center. A lot of attention to detail there. I'm kind of surprised they painted that, seeing as it's a part that's not really going to be seen much. I mean, that's like some masterpiece level attention to detail. So you push the visor up, push that purple bit down. All right, now let's over here. Plug the head in facing away from us right now. Put it in there. And just turn his head around. Here he is. Big bad himself. This is Scorponok. And I gotta tell you, this is an absolutely glorious figure. As I already pointed out, he is missing some accessories that I think he should have, but for what's here, it's beautiful. I mean, it's perfect. It's got fantastic posability in his robot mode. Obviously, ratcheted shoulders, going down, swing out, bicep swivel, ratcheted bicep, moving thumb piece, individual little fingers here, move up, hand like so. Obviously, he has his waist swivel, so that's part of the transformation. Head goes back and forth, and He can even look down a little bit, like in the Scorpion mode, which is good, right? If you have a large character. Nice for poses to be able to have him look down at puny little enemies. Hips are ratcheted, in and out, down, thigh swivel, ankle tilt, which is a fairly new phenomenon for Titans. Didn't have them for a while. And then obviously the knees bend. It kind of a double knee bend too, though. Gotta be careful kind of how you do it, or it may not work quite right. So yeah, I mean, it is the whole shebang there. So he looks really cool, but currently unarmed. So let's give him his Zarak shield. So go ahead, remove his panels here from the legs. Remove panels from the panels. This way. Very nice. Move the mandible piece from his back. And then you simply take these two halves, put them together, they'll snap into place like so. Attach them to the end of this, via these 4 holes. And just come around. You want these to line up these pegs to these holes, and then these holes to these pegs. And make sure you line them up right. Alright, here we go. Now we have the Zarak shield ready to deploy. Now that just looks really, really cool. Of course, it does look kind of silly that he doesn't have some sort of offensive weapon to go with it, but I mean, it does have mandibles, so I guess he can grab stuff with it. Some kind of weapon there. Alright, so naturally, can't just look at Scorponok. We got so many other Titans to pair him up with, so let's do some more fun stuff. And here are 2 bitter enemies locked in combat. And it is pretty fitting that this version of Fortress comes with a sword and this Scorponok has a shield. It's almost like they're meant to just do battle with one another, so very cool. You see here that you can create all sorts of dynamic poses and battle scenes and stuff between these two, and they just look really great together. Here's a look at how the two compare height-wise. You can see not a big difference. Maybe inch and a half or so. You're standing straight like this. The top of Scorponok's head comes up to midway up Fortress's, so it's pretty close. You know, I gotta say, they did a really good job making the sizes match. And Scorponok, even though he's a little more compact than Fortress's, he's honestly just much better built. His ratchets are stronger, they have more clicking points, he's much more posable. All his parts feel more solid, they feel less hollow. So you can see the difference in engineering over just the course of a few years and how far they've come with Titans. And one last bit of fun, here's our look at all of the modern city bots. So from left to right, you got Fortress Maximus, Scorponok, Omega Supreme, Metroplex, Trypticon, and Grand Maximus, who is a Japanese exclusive. So yeah, I mean, this one shot right here is a good example of why it's such a good time to be a Transformers collector. You know, 10 years ago, I don't think anyone would have thought we would see this one day. I think most people thought that, you know, any of your old favorites from the 80s were just dead and buried. They're never going to get a proper update. And while some of these guys really aren't perfect, especially the earlier ones, they're really, really good updates overall to the classic formula that made these toys so impressive in the first place. And Scorponok naturally is no exception. This is probably my favorite new toy of the year. He's got to be the most exciting thing to come out of Earthrise. And it's saying a lot because Earthrise has a lot of really cool stuff. I mean, I just reviewed Skylinks, who was phenomenal. We got Quintessons and Alicons and stuff coming. We got a great Optimus Prime update. The whole modulator concept has been a pretty popular one, and I think it's great, and I hope to see more like it. But overall, yeah, I mean, I think Scorponok just takes the cake for everything. He is absolutely phenomenal toy. Yes, he could have gone with more accessories, but I think I could pretty much say that about any modern Transformers toy. That just seems to be the Hasbro philosophy now, is, you know, skimp on the accessories. So that is what it is. We will be getting Scorponok's little drone buddy, Fast Track. He's being released as his own dedicated deluxe in, I believe, Wave 3 of Earthrise, and he'll also be able to turn into a spear that Scorponok can wield, which is reminiscent of the spear wielded by Scorponok's upgraded form, Black Zarak. Now, if you ask me, I think that Black Zarak might be something we're getting down the road. Maybe he's the Titan for next year. He would be an easy retool. And if rumors are to be believed, we are getting Black Zarak's partner, known as Rorichi or Golden Rorichi, as part of the Selects line, who's naturally a recolor of Fast Track. So things are seeming good that we might get a second helping of the Scorponok formula, this time with a very wicked and very imperial looking upgraded version. But now I'll just leave that for speculation for now. So yeah, I think I've said all that needs to be said about Scorponok. So what do you all think? Has this review made you excited for this figure? Were you already planning on getting him anyway, or are you not interested? Is there something wrong with him? Is he too expensive? I'd love to know what you all think in the comment section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. And thank you for joining me for this look at the brand new Titan class Scorponok from Transformers Earthrise. And with all that said, I will see you next time.